Ladies and gentlemen, what's happening? Back at it again. And today I want to share with you communities and groups and channels. And you might be wondering what this is. And maybe I've talked to you about it before, maybe you've come across it, etc. But if you've ever wanted to build an online community, similar to how people build Facebook pages or Facebook groups, you might have used other communication platforms such as Slack or Teams, etc., where you can have various groups or channels and interact with people. Well, I want to show you how to do that within DU and the different layers in it and really how it can benefit you. It's pretty simple to do and very effective. And so I'm going to show you one that I'm actually working on for somebody right now. And it's at the very basic infancy stages here. So you'll kind of see all that jazz. But let me bring this up here. All right. So the way you're going to access this, if you haven't ever been there yet or forgot, it's under the membership section. So if you go to memberships, it's going to bring you to this spot right here, right? This is kind of your dashboard for it. Give you a snapshot of who you invited. This link right here is your client portal. So this is the URL that you would share with people when you want them to be able to join or be able to access the portal. Now you can see I have something uniquely created to a specific domain. It says community.meridianwrestling.com. Yours is going to look a little bit different because if you don't have a domain connected and you haven't set up a custom domain for your community, it's going to have a long string of numbers followed by client.app, etc., and some other stuff there. Okay. Don't worry about that just at this second. I'm going to show you how to customize it, and I would recommend you do customize it for your brand, for your name, your company, etc., because it looks a lot better. All right. Down here at the bottom, the magic link section, this is just kind of a quick way to get somebody access into your client portal here, which has your membership site, has access to your courses, all that kind of fun stuff. And right here's a snapshot. So it says your clients have the ability to log in at any time in the client portal for accessing courses, communities, and overseeing their affiliate payout. Okay, there's a wonderful summary of what it does. Okay, if you want to give somebody access directly into it from here, you can invite them via email and do it that way there. Okay, if you want to send a login email, you can do it that way as well. All right, so just to give you a quick snapshot of what that looks like. If you hover over here, you're going to be able to see settings and brand mobile app. Click on settings. You're going to have some customization options. Going back to the domain that I mentioned earlier, this is where you can set up your custom domain. So by default, it's going to show up as this ugly string of letters, numbers, like I mentioned, and then app.clienthub.net. That's the defaulted URL you get with your client portal. But if you want to customize it, that's where you enter it right here. And so I'm not going to modify it because I already set it to community.meridianwrestling.com. But if you're already logged into like your GoDaddy account, for example, and that's where you have your domain, or whatever domain provider you got your domain through, then it's pretty easy. You can literally type it in, connect it. It'll automatically add the DNS records on their side, and it's good to go. Worst case scenario, you're going to have to manually add the DNS records, but it actually gives you the steps on how to do that. And I'm not going to go over that particular thing right now. But here's what it looks like when you enter the community, right? As you can see right now, I just have the one group that's created here. If I had multiple, you'd be able to see all the groups here if you wanted to. Quick search option to join a group if you needed to, or take a course, etc. Affiliate earnings if you're a part of any affiliate programs that somebody's created or you created, and then you can manage your subscription there. Okay, that's a snapshot of what it looks like, and we'll get into the details here in just a second. But coming back here, the branded mobile app section, this is an area where you can actually brand the mobile app to your liking. There is a fee associated with that. So if you wanted to customize it, though, kind of a nice touch to it, we'll be doing that with this particular brand here for Meridian Wrestling. It's going to have its own customized branded app. It takes a couple weeks for it to get pushed through and whatnot, but operates much like you would on the regular app. You don't have to have that. If you just want to download the regular app for this, it's Collab, and it looks like this is the icon for it. So once you create your community, you can download this app and it'll give you access to the community, the groups, etc. via the app. It's pretty sweet. You can access the courses within that as well. Very sweet mobile experience with the app. So by default, you can just download that. It's free. But if you want something branded, then you can consider doing it this way as well. Okay. The next section I wanted to bring over here. So you see client portal has dashboard, settings, branded mobile app. If you go here, communities, and go to settings here, you're going to see it's going to take you to the same thing. Okay. This setup is designed kind of the same way. Okay. But under groups here, you're going to see it operates or it's created the group that I already did earlier. It's showing up here right now. And if I were to log into this, it's going to take us into the group that I created here. Okay. So that was the preview. And if I want to log in here, here's what it's going to look like once we're in the community. All right. Once we're in the community, as you can see, I only got one group here. It's this Meridian Wrestling. You can create multiple groups. So if you wanted multiple groups, they would show up here like this. You just create a group, right? Give it the name, give it a slug, which is the last string of letters or name at the end of a URL. So www.brand.com/etc. And that's the slug. Okay. Group description. You can choose whether you want to have this discoverable within the collab community. If it's specifically for your community, you probably don't want to do that. And then all the branding elements that you would have with it for favicon, cover image, logo, etc. Okay. Those are all pieces to it. But for this example purposes, I want to talk to you about what I've created here and kind of the vision for where this may be going here. As you can see, I just got the one group here. And for this particular brand, it's a wrestling community. And the wrestling community is a program, overarching program that has a club program for younger kids that also does, freestyle wrestling during the off season. And it's really kind of a feeder program, if you would, to train those younger wrestlers that are probably most of them going to go into the middle school at some point in time and wrestle for Meridian Middle School. So then you got Meridian Middle School. And then Meridian Middle School, obviously, those kids are getting coached up and primed and, geared up and building a community with the people they have there, coaches, wrestlers, etc. And eventually the goal is to get them to go to high school. Okay. And so you can see there's kind of three distinct, if you will, programs, but they're all part of the same community. You got a club program, a middle school program, a high school program. So in this case, for this example, we're just creating one group holistically for the whole program, but then we're going to be building out channels individually. So you got a channel for kind of a general announcements, which is what this is right here. Okay. And then we'll have another channel that's going to be for the club, okay, which is called Fighting Squirrels. And then we'll have another channel that's for the middle school. And then you got another channel that's for the high school. And then you might have a private channel for, the coaches, let's say. So you can add a channel here, right? And you can name it whatever you want, give it the description, icons, all that fun stuff, determine whether it's private or read-only. So a read-only channel may be something just like an announcement channel. You don't want people, commenting on it, getting it all messy, etc. But a private channel could be for just internal audiences like a coaching group or an employee group or, parents, etc. And so that's kind of how we're designing this. Now, I know some other people that are in the midst of building out their communities right now, and theirs is a little bit different where it's built on categories. And so they got categories for A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And then within those categories, they got multiple things that they're sharing within there. So in their case, they're deciding whether or not a group for each one of those fits the bill or if individual channels are okay. Really, it's a case-by-case situation for you and what your business is and what you're looking to accomplish. My goal and my advice is to try to keep things as simple as possible, especially when you're bringing in other people to join. Especially if they're adopting a new platform, even though it's pretty user-friendly, people get overwhelmed pretty easy. And if you don't, help them through the process, they'll check out really fast and get frustrated, etc. And so you don't want that. But it's really going to be dependent upon you. You can create groups for each group, and then within that have multiple channels if you want. Or, as I mentioned in this example, you could have just one group and then individual channels within that group. Okay, totally up to you. But as you can see, within this section on the top hand column here, you got these menu items. So learning would be where your courses show up. So if you wanted to add a course that you've created, you can do that within this section here. Okay. You can determine the availability, whether you're going to be offering it to all members, whether, they have to hit a certain level on the gamification side of things before it's unlocked, which is pretty cool. If it's going to be a paid for course, you could do that. And then this would be the option for members being able to access it after they've joined a set amount of days, etc. So it really depends on you. Now, I don't got anything showing up here because you'd actually have to um, do that within the courses section and tell it that you're going to be adding it into groups, etc. So that's why it's not showing up here. But this is where you'd see the group show up and then add them, etc. Okay, the member section is just what it sounds like. You can see what members are in here, see what admins, contributors, etc. You can remove them from here if you need be, or change their role. You can add the events here, which is one thing I really like is the event calendar here. So any of the groups or members that you have within the group here, if you add an event, you can put an event here, put the details, etc., date, time, description, all that fun stuff. If it's a paid for event, you can also link it to a payment method. And then when you publish this onto the calendar, this actually alerts all the people within that group. Okay, they can get an email from it. And you can change these settings within your group settings as well to determine if you want notifications for stuff like this. But by default, it's already set up that way. Okay. Leaderboard is for the gamification side of things. So this is really customizable based on what you want to do with this group and determine what the levels look like. And obviously the about section here for the group and people to be able to see it specifically. Okay. Over here on the right hand side, you might have noticed we got these other settings. You can, invite members from this spot directly, either by sharing the URL. Notice it's the same URL as the other one from the dashboard. You can do it straight via email. And then you can determine if this person has invite privileges or not and send it directly to them like this. Okay. So kind of multiple ways to slice it here. Under the settings option, this kind of gives you a more in-depth ability to customize the group. So you'll see some of the same settings regarding to the details of it. If you want to do something regarding pricing, you can change it there as well. Your branding elements, as you can see, I just got the main logo that's on here. Nothing too fancy yet. We'll be building on that. You can change the color scheme, the theme for it as well within here, light mode, dark mode. Okay, and that might help you actually to kind of differentiate if you have multiple groups as well. This is kind of a good idea to be able to switch up the colors or switch it up between light mode and dark mode. Okay. If you want to add membership questions, you're probably familiar with this when joining a Facebook group. Sometimes you got these marketplace groups where they want to vet who's coming into them, and so they'll make them ask a question or answer a question. That's where this stuff is, and you can enable that option there. Okay. As mentioned earlier, the gamification and the rewards. This is where this is set up, and you can change this stuff and determine what that level name is. Okay. The rewards associated with it. Okay. It could be all kinds of things like you see this little grayed out version of 10% off, etc. You could do limitless things. It could be something that they actually get access to another course, maybe that was a paid for course. Could be a ticket to an event. Could be an actual product, tangible product, service, certificate, etc. This link option just allows you to add certain promotional links that you want to live within the space there. And then obviously if people are reporting content, you're going to be able to view that here for your community, kind of to keep everybody in check. It's kind of what that's about. Okay. This discovery tab, this is the option I mentioned earlier about allowing this group to be discovered by other groups within the Go Collab community, which is what this is kind of modeled after. If you're doing this primarily for your own audience and you're not looking to get outside audiences to come across your group and whatnot, I wouldn't enable that there. But if you're okay with other people that are looking to join certain groups just like they would on Facebook, that's kind of what this is. You can unlock that option. Okay. Top right hand corner here, if you ever wanted to chat with somebody specifically within the group, kind of like in Facebook, right? This is where you do that, and you can have a direct one-on-one conversation and chat with that person in the group. And that is pretty much the logistics of it here. Okay. So again, I won't go into all these settings back again, but this is where we started off with, showing you how you customize this. Okay. As mentioned, these two setups are the same thing. Your client portal is the URL where somebody would gain access to. So if I copy that, this is what the user would see if they're logged in. If they're not logged in, they're going to see a login screen that they have to actually log into. Okay. But I hope that does it for you. And it gives you a little bit of inspiration about what you can do with building a community. And guys, it doesn't have to be anything crazy. You don't have to have, a million followers to be able to build a community. It could be, a handful of people that you're just trying to nurture a community with and get some camaraderie going, get some loyalty built in, and maybe add value with one another and people sharing content, people sharing ideas and resources, etc. And so if you've ever built a group, this is kind of a no-brainer. The other caveat that I'll tell you here is that the cool part about this is if you have your own community built out here, it's less of a distraction than what somebody experiences when they're on like a Facebook group or a channel for Instagram, etc. Um, my experience and what I've been able to see and witness, not just personally, but other people, is when they're on those other platforms and they're within a community, it's super easy to get distracted by the notifications going off on it, by the other feeds that are popping in, etc. And so trying to get them to then tap into something here is a little bit more challenging, right? If you were to have another group within Facebook, I'm trying to say, and they're being distracted by all these other notifications, it's pretty difficult to capture an audience. And so by having them offline, having them in your own ecosystem, right, within your own community here that's not connected to all that and um, influenced by those distractions, I think you can provide just a more focused, attentive community experience within this spot right here. So hope that adds value to you and makes sense. If you have any questions about setting this up, about getting your custom domain linked to it, or if you need to add DNS records manually because it's just not working for you, please reach out. I'm here for you. I want to see you succeed, and we'll catch you on the next one.